So with Casey Hayward signed to the Raiders, we've basically got our whole defensive roster set. Like some guys will start here, some guys will start there, but basically the roster that we have is who's going to be our defense for the foreseeable future. So I was listening to Bill Barnwell's podcast, and they were going through every single team in the AFC West, him and his guest, I forgot who it was, and they were going through who has the biggest holes, right? Like the draft is over, so who still has like the biggest holes left on their team? And when they got to the Raiders, they both said defense, but they didn't really pinpoint a position, a player, a what. So I'm asking myself, what are the biggest holes in our defense? And it's a really hard question to answer because it depends what you mean by hole. Mm-hmm. Every single slot, every position that we have on defense, there's either a first-round draft pick there or an expensive free agent. So once we drafted our new safety in Trevor Moehrig, we're like, okay, like that was the hole, right? Like there was a hole at right tackle, we got leather. There was a hole at safety, we got one. And then we also drafted Carl Joseph, right? So where is the hole? The defense is still bad on paper, but it's hard to pick like the hole. Like Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue, good edge rushers. Eventually we'll find out who our tackles are. Hankins, Jefferson, Irving, whoever it may be. Littleton, Gwiatkowski, expensive. Morrow, good, like solid, like probably the most consistent player on our defense last year.
Diablo is going to be in that group as a linebacker.
Right? And you got Moehrig, Abram, and Arnett, first-round draft picks, and then Casey Hayward, 9-year veteran, two-time All-Pro guy. So it's like there's no one position where you're like, okay, I want to replace that guy with this guy, but the defense is still – it's not so different from last season that we can't expect it to be bad again. So I ask you this, Soto, like this is such a quandary to solve. How do you fix this? Where are the holes in this defense?
I said this a few weeks ago when you asked me the last time. We don't know what we have yet because the leadership on the defense has been so bad. We don't know where the holes are. We don't know if the Cleveland Farrells, if the Arnetts, if the Abrams were just put in positions where they couldn't succeed. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later. But so it's like if you have a level field that's a little bit higher and you have these potholes, you can know what to fill in, right? We don't have that. We don't know what we have that cream that rises to the top. We don't know what we have yet in order to know what holes to fill. And that's why it's difficult. What I would say, what we're lacking right now is playmakers on defense. And that's at any level.
Yeah.
Are they there? And can they be brought out with this better coaching, with this new group of players? Yes, I believe that there is. I believe that there's playmaking ability out there. Corey Littleton has shown, even more than Ngakoue, has been shown to be more of a playmaker. He's out there. Hopefully things work out where, this new regime on defense is going to help him kind of bring that out of him. Ngakoue is going to be solid. In the secondary, we'll have to see. Trayvon Mullen started off the year well last year and kind of dropped off. We'll see if he's able to be a little bit more consistent throughout the year. We'll see if Arnett's bulked up, dude. He's bulked up, so he's been putting in some work. Hopefully,
that's what Mayock wanted him to do.
Yeah,
a few months ago, he's like, they got to get
put on some weight, and he put on like 20 pounds, so that's good. Hopefully, he keeps his quickness. But yeah, man, we need these guys. I mean, it was Gruden who said at the end of the year, at the end of the season, we need our young players to start performing. And right now, there is not going to be an excuse of the coaching was bad, the system was hard, the system didn't fit. It's not going to be any of that stuff. Gunther's a teller. Telling is not teaching, right? We need to have and then you have people who have been in a similar system, like the Littletons. His system, that system that they ran in with the Rams is very similar to what the Chargers ran. And you have Hayward there, and you have pieces there that's going to be able to help. No excuses anymore.
If there was any sort of mentality, any hint with these like rookies and second-year players are like, oh, I'm the first rounder, I'm Damon Arnett, I'm Jonathan Abram, this is my job. We got Carl Joseph that could take your spot away. We got Casey Hayward that could take your spot away. Like that mentality, if it's still there, you're not going to last long at all.
Nope. And this is what we need right now. We need, because what I was talking about last week about when you draft poorly, it doesn't necessarily affect your starting lineup. It more affects your depth, because you don't have those guys that are they're so far above everyone else. Those are lockdown starters. What you're doing is you're moving everyone up a step. So you have these rotational starter backup guys who are pushed into those must start roles, and then you have these special teams guys who are the rotational starters, and guys who maybe wouldn't have made your team who are special teams guys. So it's like everyone gets pushed up a notch. Now you have guys that are capable of taking your spot at different levels of the defense. So that's going to hopefully that pushes everyone to be better, and the competition makes that helps us compete more towards the end of the year, because that was the big issue defense, and we just didn't compete.
So when you ask the question, like, what are the biggest holes? I asked the question, what are the biggest holes of the defense? The Raiders did a great job of
depth. I think
depth and making sure, like, and not even just not even like making sure every position is challenged for. Like I said, who's our defensive starting tackles?
Competition.
Who knows? There's a ton of guys. We got 4 defensive ends that can start. We've got 3 corners that could start. We've got 4 safeties who could, like, we're not really sure we assume, Jonathan Abrams is going to be the starting strong safety, but if he's that bad, you're gone.
In a second.
Get a giant hook, pull him out, Joe's out there. So other than, like you mentioned, the Raiders completely whiffed on getting giant playmakers on defense. That's not true. Yannick Ngakoue's playmaker. Malrig, I think could be,
Littleton has shown he can be a playmaker.
Littleton could, right. So that's not entirely fair, but we didn't get the earth-shattering players that you wanted, Soto. But they did a great job of 2 things. One, getting rid of Gunther and bringing in Gus Bradley, right? So when you have a whole defense where there's not you're not like one really good edge rusher away or one really good free safety away from being a top 10 defense. When you're not that, which the Raiders aren't, you need an overall sweeping change. That's what you do. You bring in a new defensive coordinator, change the culture, change the system. But you also make sure that every single position, there's competition for it. So these guys are at each other's throats, trying to beat each other in practice every single day to be that number 1 guy. Because, like, how many guaranteed starting positions are there on this defense? 3? Like Littleton, Kwiatkowski.
I mean, Littleton,
Yannick?
Ngakoue.
Only because of contracts. Only because their contracts are huge, right? Like that's it.
It's the difference between being a salaried salesperson and a commission-only salesperson.
Yeah.
That commission-only salesperson is always going to work harder. It's always going to push harder if they want to succeed, because they know if they don't do what they need to do, they don't get paid, right? And if you have somebody behind you that's just as good and pushing hard, it's going to force your level to go up higher, or you're not going to be on the field, or you're not going to be on the team. It's as simple as that. You have to perform. It's time to go out there and perform. No more excuses, no more this and that, no more, oh, they're young and all this crap. No, because we've seen a lot of young players go into the NFL and thrive. So we need to do that with our guys too. Fuck this bullshit. I'm tired of this freaking crap. I'm tired of these excuses. Okay. That is a loser mentality, people. We cannot have that if we want to build and continue this commitment to excellence. You have to commit to the excellence, and the excellence starts here. It starts in your head. You have to expect it of yourself, right? And once you expect it, then you inspect what you expect. Now, okay, let me make sure that everybody on my team, whether they're playing or not, whether they're on the active roster or not, are they doing what they need to do every single day? And if they're not, boom, out, bring someone else in. That's what we have to have.
Hey, Windbags, if you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes this season, don't be afraid to click those subscribe, like, share, and comment buttons. Plus, your comment could be featured in the next What Up, Windbags?